Hi, I'm Gaz. In today's show, I'll be giving some powerful tools and tips to independent musicians who want to market their music around the world. Stay tuned for the latest episode of the G-Log. You thought I was going to do it, didn't you? You thought I was going to do it.
Meet radio and television personality Gaz Reynolds, the founder of World Domination Records and Great Drive Driving School. Like, comment and subscribe to be part of the journey. This is Gaz Reynolds, the G-Log.
Hi, so welcome to another episode of the G-Log. So today's episode is all about how I market my artist on my record label, World Domination Records, and to give some tips to other musicians who may want to get their releases out into the marketplace. Now, this is probably a very, very broad subject, and so I'll probably need to follow this up with some other episodes. So this video is going to be one of probably many that will actually be posted up on my YouTube channel. So really, my first advice is obviously get some good quality tracks together. I would say probably about 3 to 5. And then you've got so many tools out there. I mean, the obvious ones are SoundCloud, YouTube, you know, Facebook. You can post your music there as well. But really, if you want to sell records, then you need to get some kind of digital distribution deal. It's pretty pointless releasing CDs and vinyl these days, because they do struggle on the marketplace, although there is a niche market for those products as well. So my advice would be try and get a digital distribution deal. We've got a very cool one with one of the largest distributors in the US and probably the world now, which is The Orchard. And I got that distribution deal probably about 10 years ago. And what this basically means is myself, if I release records, because I've released plenty of records and I've got a new album out at the moment called The Wedding Album, all of my artists on the record label, when their releases come out, they'll come out on all the major outlets around the world. So that'll be iTunes, Spotify, Napster, Google Music, etc. But then we'll have all the mama and papa stores, as they call them as well, which are the smaller stores, and there's some really obscure stores. I've seen some of my records on release in Japan. I'd never even heard of the stores, but it's pretty cool to see them out in the Japanese market and Russian market, and it's the same for my other artists as well. I've posted some links down below of some of the artists and some of their videos, and where to purchase their songs if you actually like them. Now, another marketing tool that I'm actually using at the moment is vlogging, and I would certainly strongly recommend this to all musicians that want to get their music out into the world, really, because YouTube and vlogging definitely are one of those very, very essential tools these days. Also, I'd say videos as well. I mean, I've been very lucky because I've been interviewed on quite a lot of television and radio shows, but in the early days I was knocking on everybody's door and nobody was interested. So I knew that I had to do something a little bit different, and so I went onto YouTube, and this is probably about, I don't know, 7, 8, maybe even 10 years ago, and I started posting videos. Now the videos, I'll be honest with you, they weren't the best quality in the world, but I don't think there was many artists actually doing what I was doing at the time. And so even if the video quality is not the best, I would still say if you've got something visual that you can show people, it's a start. And it's rather like vlogging, really. You don't need to have the best equipment in the world. You can start off with cheap equipment and then build up as you get better and better at vlogging. And look at me, 3 weeks ago I didn't have a clue about how to vlog. All I knew is that I wanted to have a go at it, and fingers crossed people think that I'm actually doing a reasonable job, I hope. So anyway, going back to promoting artists, well, I'll show you some of the videos that we've produced for some of our artists, and I think they're pretty cool. So visuals are definitely a very, very big marketing tool, and I'll also show you the World Domination Records television advert.
Gaz Reynolds here. Our music releases are available in these stores around the world.
probably some viewers might find difficult to relate to, because most people aren't really interested in a record label. They're more interested in the artist. So the artist is actually the brand. It's rather like a vlogger. The vlogger is actually the brand. So, but however, a record label is a banner, and so my record label, World Domination Records, is a banner for the artist to be on, and that particular brand is recognised. And so people, the purchasers of the music, probably look at the artists in a way which they wouldn't have looked at them if they were just out on their own. But I still say to all independent artists that you should get some visuals up on your website, even if it's just talking to your fan base and trying to, get your music out there in the marketplace by talking. And then maybe even performing live, on some of these, live venues, such as live streaming on YouTube. All of this can really help in promotion. But at the end of the day, if you want your records out, then and you want them in iTunes and Spotify, then you're going to need some kind of distribution deal. You can search on Google for distribution deals. I've mentioned the Orchard, so you could try the Orchard and see if they'll give you a distribution deal. But there are companies around that will actually market your music and put them out there into the big wide world. Now, other tools that we use at World Domination Records is we use some of the online sort of music sites which are free, such as Fandalism. I'll show you my Fandalism page in a minute. I've got, I think, 4 million views now on there, so it's a very powerful marketing tool. And in fact, I've been told I'm the most viewed artist on Fandalism, so which is pretty exciting in itself. You've also got other companies like Domination. You can market there. Again, I'll mention YouTube, and you can have your own website and post up videos onto your website. Maybe even if you've got content on YouTube, then post that onto your website as well. Put it on your Facebook page. Even form a separate page for your music. So you could have like one Facebook page, like I have, for me. But then I've also got other Facebook pages, one for World Domination Records, one for my music, and so on. And this helps with Google rankings as well. So if people are looking for music content, then yes, I agree that there's probably going to be a lot of competition, but it gives you a more increased chance of being seen. Now what I'm doing to create more awareness of what I actually do and my music career, but my other business as well, such as World Domination Records, is I've decided to start a vlog to create, hopefully, worldwide awareness. Now, I've been very fortunate that I get quite a lot of radio shows as well, and I do radio interviews. And my advice to all independent artists would be to knock on doors, ring up radio stations, send them emails, and see if you can actually get a reply. I got very lucky because years back I got in with Harry Rosen in America, who's a very famous radio promoter, and he got me onto power rotation around the States with a record called In This House that I wrote. But even in the UK, I work with a lot of the local radio stations, and they're not always necessarily commercial hit radio stations. Some of the smaller ones will actually be more powerful than the bigger ones, if that makes sense. And what I always make sure of is, if I've done an interview, I post it up onto YouTube, because again, you've got something there that's there for life, and available to the world. Whereas if you actually go and do a radio interview, once it's been broadcast, that's the end of it. So if you can get it onto some online services, and like I'll show you what I've done with Fandalism for my own music, then you've got a larger audience. So one interview could be the equivalent of 5,000 interviews. Okay, so this is my Fandalism page, and as you can see up the top there's just under 4 million views. So this is pretty exciting stuff. And what I've been doing is I've been posting my vlog up onto Fandalism, and of course there's the option then for people who are watching on Fandalism to click through onto my YouTube page and hopefully subscribe. So another thing that I've actually done is, because my music's distributed around the world, Google has now got quite a lot of listings for me. I think there's around about 4,500 in total, which is pretty cool, and it includes like my YouTube link, some purchase links such as to Deezer, and then if you scroll down here, I've got a Facebook link as well. There's some info on me on Google, so all of this stuff really helps. I've also done quite a lot of interviews on television, and what I tend to do is I get the permission from the companies that I've done the television interviews for, to actually allow me to post the content up onto my website and online. Now, this is one of my local radio stations. I've just clicked on the link, and this is Radio Harrow, based in London, and I've done probably, I would say at least 30 or 40 interviews. And what they do is, to help me out as well, is they actually post up the interviews onto their website, and this one was from 2015, but I've done lots of others since then. But that content's been there for 3 years now, and as you can see, they've got a SoundCloud file there as well, so you can actually listen to the interview online, but they gave me a copy of all of my interviews, so I posted them up onto my YouTube page. So all of this stuff can be very, very useful for you as a musician who wants to market their music. These are just some of the tools and tips that I'm giving, and this is how we market the artists at World Domination Records as well. Now, some of our artists are in different countries, so what we do is we also ask them to get a list, or sometimes we get a list of radio stations or television shows that they would like to appear on. Sometimes it's online media as well, like podcasts and online magazines and things, and then we'll do like a little pitch to the individual television and radio stations, and see who kind of nibbles and says yes, we're interested. And you know, it is hard work, don't get me wrong, marketing is very hard work. Just because you might have a really good record and a really good video, it really doesn't mean anything if you haven't got the right people behind you. And you know, one way of getting the right people behind you is actually to post all of your stuff up onto YouTube, like I said, to get viewing figures, and really push your content out there. Look at Justin Bieber, he's a good example of it actually. And then to market your music around the world, and if you build up that fan base, you know, you never know what's going to happen out of that. I mean, I'll be honest with you, every television and radio show that I've gained has really been because I've been on YouTube. So that's what got me gave me the idea to actually start vlogging as well, because I thought, you know, I've done all of this radio and television work over the years. I've been in a lot of magazines as well, and I'd like more people to know about what I've actually done. And it's also a good way of marketing all of my career and my businesses, etc., and create a greater awareness. And I have to say, I've really been enjoying vlogging as well. It's been a great experience for me. Anyway, that's the end of today's video. I will be doing more on these subjects to give you guys out there some more sort of tools and tips. And if you've enjoyed the content of today's video, then please like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification button. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon.
Out now, Gaz Reynolds' new album, The Wedding Album, as featured on Big Review TV and Radio Harrow. Available at iTunes and all major outlets worldwide.